Hey, HannahMouse1 here. For those of you who watched my last Dragon RPG devlog, you'll know that I've taken a brief hiatus from that game to finish a project that I've been working on behind the scenes for the past few months. And in this video, I'll be going over what that project is. This is actually a project that my dad asked me to make for his website. My dad runs an English school called Swindon School of English, and he's currently working towards the release of an online course. He wanted me to make a game for his site to go alongside this, after my mum, who's really into her Duolingo, suggested that it might be a good idea. He didn't give me much of a guideline, considering he hasn't played a video game since the one where you shoot the aliens that come down from the top of the screen, or the tennis one where the ball goes boop 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 boop. So I had pretty much free rein to do what I wanted, provided that it could help people learn English, and decided to make a virtual pet game because I grew up on Moshi Monsters and Bin Weevils and have wanted to make something in that vein for a while now. While buying my dad's English course will unlock some extra parts of the game, I want a fair chunk of the game to be free for everyone. One of the things that drove me mad about Moshi Monsters was how limited it felt if you didn't have the Moshi membership. I wanted this game to have plenty of free content to get people hooked, and then you pay and unlock more. It should feel like an extra bonus on top of the lessons on the course which you are actually paying for. My first objective was to get the free portion of the game up to snuff, which is what I'll be covering in this video. The basic gameplay loop of this section is that you play mini games geared to teach you about some English language rule or concept, and that will both earn you coins and decrease your pet's hunger. If you get too hungry, you won't be able to play any more games. You can spend your coins on food to get those hunger levels back up, and you can also customize your bubble's appearance and clothing as well as your apartment. I had already got the basic structure for the first 4 mini games finished before I started recording for this devlog, and these cover homophones, prepositions, ed and ing word endings, and comparing American and British English vocabulary. I might add in more down the line, but I wanted to make the game as is, fully playable before adding in anything extra. I had also already finished the food shop, so you're joining me for the clothes shop or the outfit outlet. For this, I needed to get icons for each of the items of clothing to display on the shelves, and so that you can scroll through them. There's one row for your basic clothing, and then one row for your hats and jewelry. I needed to make it so that mousing over these icons display the cost of the item and whether or not you've bought it, as well as displaying the item of clothing itself on a mannequin. And if you can afford the item that you've not yet bought, I needed to make it so that you can click the icon to make the purchase. I then did the same in the walls and floors mart, where you buy different wallpapers and flooring for your room, creating icons for each wall and floor option and getting them to display in the shop. I had to make it so that, again, mousing over these gives you the cost and whether you've bought the item, as well as giving you a preview, and to make it so that clicking the icon buys the item if you can afford it. Next, I moved on to the bubble boutique, where you'll be able to customize your bubble. I started with the ability to change the bubble's color. There are 2 free color options, cyan and magenta, the Swindon School of English logo colors, and the rest you'll have to pay for. I made it so that the bubble pet displays on the boutique page, as well as options for every possible bubble color. I also added the option to purchase patterns for the bubble's body. Then I made it so that you can cycle through the different tabs to change the bubble's body, hair, and beers. Speaking of which, I made some different facial hair options, made it so that the bubble pet can actually render if one of these is equipped, and added them to the bubble boutique with the ability to buy and recolor each one. And I did the same for the different hairstyles, and there were a lot of different options for these, so I had to make it so that you can cycle through them with arrow buttons. And the final shop is the decoration department, where you can buy furniture to spruce up your room. The way I'm doing furniture is that you have a table, a chair, a lamp, something on the table, and something on the wall equipped at any given time. And I made some themed furniture collections which contain one of each furniture type. I'd already done the art for the classic collection, as these are in the shop's window display, but I also did art for the children's collection, a cake collection, a sky collection, and a fancy collection. Doing it like this also made me think that when I add in more narrative driven sections to teach vocabulary topics, which is something that I hope to make unlockable in the paid version, I can unlock collections of furniture that fit the theme of whatever topic I want to teach. For example, if I did a vocabulary pack on, say, going camping, I could unlock a woodland themed furniture set. Then I made it so that you can decorate the room with the walls, floors, and furniture, creating a tab icon to let you select which of these you want to swap in and out. Once I had this displaying, I made it so that the icons for whatever furniture item type you have selected display, and so that clicking these icons can equip the relevant item of furniture. I started with the wallpaper, and once that was working as intended, I moved on to the floor and other furniture items, and some of these needed to have options to choose the color, so I added that in as well. And next I made it so that you can dress up the character with items of clothing that you've bought, creating tabs for the shirts, hats, and jewelry. There isn't any limit to how many items of clothing clothing you can equip at any time in hopes that the player can create some fun, unique outfits by layering different fits. To make this easier, I made it so that you can select an item of clothing and shift it up and down the layers so you can easily get things into the order that you want. Then for a bit of polish, I made it so that the bubble looks tired and sad if you let it get too hungry. And my dad requested that for the mini games it plays a recording of the answer so that the player can get used to hearing the words and their pronunciation. And while I added this, I also added the ability to mute sound effects because it seemed like a convenient time to do so. Next, I sorted out all of the tutorials. I made versions of myself and my dad in bubble form to explain each of the mini games and a tutorial manager class to handle displaying this. I also added a series of pulsing arrows to guide the player through the basic gameplay loop of playing a game, buying some food and feeding the bubble. Then I put together a backing track for the game. Those of you who are familiar with my content will also know that music is far from my strong suit, but I was able to cobble something together in Soundtrap. I was loosely inspired by lo-fi study beats that you get those live streams of all over YouTube with the Whisper of the Heart girl in all the thumbnails. I couldn't match the instruments exactly because of the limited instrument range of the Soundtrap free library, but I think I got the correct vibe, and I had to modify the game sound manager code to be able to play looped audio, and once that was done I got the music to play. I decided that I wanted to add in a mini game where you have to match the words to pictures within the time limit. The first category for this game that I wanted was fruit, so I made the icons for these. I also took the opportunity to redraw the 3 fruit already in the game because I thought that they were looking a bit tacky, and after that I added in another 9 types of fruit, bringing the total up to 12 varieties. To turn these into game icons, I just added them to little blue circles that you'll be able to click on and select, and then I coded it so a grandma NPC that I'd already drawn appears from time to time in the outlet, and clicking her will allow you to initiate the game. Eventually I want there to be different NPCs that will have different themes and topics associated with them, but for now I was just trying to get everything working, and I can add variety in later. Then I coded in the mechanics behind the game itself. What this needed was to display an icon for each of the different fruit options, and you have to click the one that matches the word on the screen. If you're correct, you get a point and a boost to your combo. Get it wrong and your combo resets. The score you get per correct answer is based on the combo. There's also a time limit, and you go straight to the end screen if that runs out. With all of that working, I decided to add in 3 more categories for the minigame that would expand the range of vocabulary that the players get to learn. I started with veggies, again redrawing the less satisfactory of the existing artwork, and then made a collection of other vegetables, bringing things up to the desired 12, and did the same for savoury foods and desserts, again doing 12 of each. And I coded it in so that these categories can crop up, and luckily because of the way everything was already programmed in, this was super simple, leaving me with a bit of extra time. So I added a bit of variety into where the NPC can appear in the outlet so that the place feels a bit more alive. From there I wanted to just polish off this stage of the game with some bug fixes and juiciness elements. From here there are 2 major phases of basic development left for me to implement. First I need to add saving, but to do that I'm just waiting for a bit more clarity from my dad about exactly how he wants me to integrate this onto his website. And the second is that I will need to add in the paid narrative elements of the game, but for that I need my dad to give me the vocabulary list that I should focus these stories around. Once I've done that I will probably go back to my Dragon RPG game. But for now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you did, it lets me know there's something you want to see more of. Join the Discord, link down below, and I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!